Um, well, I never, and this is silly, but it makes sense that urban forest systems are a part of green infrastructure, but it never occurred to me, just because it's so part of our everyday life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's kind of like wallpaper; it just sort of disappears.
Right. Well, there's a big discussion about urban forests here in Phoenix just because of our climate, our desert climate, and it's sort of hard to maintain a really vibrant urban forest, and because of other political and economic issues. Um, but anyway, I was wondering if you could tell us like three of the most important things that we should know about urban forest systems.
Great. The first one would be that urban trees in the past, street trees in particular, have not been given enough soil volume to grow in.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially what we've been doing is we've been treating them like bonsai. We put them in little pots, but the expectation is that it's going to be a giant tree.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
And so the average age of a street tree in the top 20 largest metro areas in the U.S. is 13 years, which is pretty bad.
Yeah.
And then the next thing is that as trees get larger, the benefits they provide in terms of urban heat island, air pollutant interception, stormwater uptake and interception, it's not a linear progression. When the trees reach about, let's say, 15 years of age or so, 15 to 20 years of age, and their trunks are about 12 to 16 inches in diameter, and they reach that, at that point they go into a geometric progression. So it's no longer, the 40-year-old tree is not twice as good as the 20-year-old tree. It's 3 or 4 times better.
Oh.
And it's not only 4 times better than the 10-year-old tree. It's an order of magnitude bigger. So when we keep trees, when we give them enough soil volume and we keep them alive long enough, that's when they really start to return the benefits.
Neat. Yeah, it makes me wonder if there should be, I don't know if there are in Minnesota, but like laws or something against cutting down old trees that are so beneficial to our environment.
Exactly, and there is in some municipalities, and in terms of the soil volume, I'm sorry, jumping around a little bit.
That's okay.
But there are municipalities in the country now that are requiring Canada and the U.S. and Europe minimum soil volumes for trees, so that the tree will get to be a certain size. So as an example, in Toronto, the minimum volume for soil volume for a tree is 30 cubic meters if the tree is in its own individual pit, which is about 1,100 cubic feet. And if it's in a tree trench and it's connected to a whole bunch of other trees, or it can access open land or a garden area or something like that, it's 550 feet or 15 cubic meters.
Okay.
And then there's a town in California, Emeryville, which has a system of soil volumes. They base theirs on the species of trees. So if it's a species of trees that stays small, then it's 400 cubic feet. If it's a tree that gets medium, it's 600, and if it's a large tree, it's 1,200.
Okay.
And so it's a way to meet a requirement, and then what it builds in the possibility that trees can get old, large, and provide these ecological services. And there are some municipalities now where the rule in the past used to be, I cut down a tree that's 100 years old and it's got a trunk that's 35 inches across or something like that. And all I have to do is go out there and plant a 2-inch tree that cost me $400 or $500.
Right. And yes.
So what this research is showing in terms of this geometric progression is that a 30-inch tree, a tree with a trunk that's 30 inches in diameter, is not 10 times more valuable than a 3-inch diameter tree. It's 70 times more valuable.
Wow.
So it's like, okay, so you took out the 30-inch tree. I'm glad you're putting in one 3-inch tree. Now you need to put in 69 more of them.
That's amazing. I had no idea.
And what that does is that, there's incentivizing, there's the stick and the carrot, and that one is kind of, it encourages the developer to think of ways to hold on to the trees rather than to cut them down and just plop their buildings wherever they want.